Nukarata.
Kia ora, kai whakahaere. E mihi atu kia koutou katoa. Mr. Chair, just first of all to acknowledge all the previous speakers, particularly talking about the Greater Christchurch Regeneration Bill, because it is sort of cross-party. We call that kotahitaka, actually working together. The other part of it, sir, is that this is a really unique template, and the fact that this template, sir, can really serve well sort of other parts of New Zealand in the future. So I just want to come back because there has been a lot of talk about Te Runanga o Ngaitahu, Ngaitahu Iwi, and also Mana Whenua. And part of it, just my colleague, Whanoka Reno Terekatni, actually brought up the fact around the Treaty of Waitangi. Sir, first of all, when we actually did discuss the clauses of the Treaty of Waitangi at the Select Committee, it was considered, sir, but I think the most important part of this is that when you look at Mana Whenua in Christchurch, in Otautahi, Canterbury, Te Waipounamu, sir, we understand the treaty, and what you see there, and particularly, sir, in Christchurch and particularly in this bill, is that this is the Treaty of Waitangi in motion. Sir, the situation here was that right from the darkest days in 2011, sir, when the earthquake struck, when Ruamoko visited us for the first time. Sir, the situation is here, though, is that everyone came together. That's what kotahitaka was, and particularly Te Runanga o Ngaitahu. They were actually included right from the beginning as a major stakeholder. They set up, sir, the committee in conjunction with the Crown, in conjunction with the Christchurch City Council and all the other major stakeholders. Sir, it was called Te Awhewheru Whenua. And so I was privileged enough to be a member of that committee. So that was the first part of this whole thing in motion. So what we had, sir, was the emergency, and then following the emergency, sir, after that, we actually had the recovery, the rebuild, and what we see now is the regeneration of Greater Christchurch in this legislation. Sir, we have seen the inclusion of Mana Whenua, Te Runanga o Ngaitahu, all the way through this process. And what happened here, sir, is that within the bill itself, within the legislation, what we have seen is an acknowledgement right throughout, sir, in the first part of the bill, and particularly about the inclusion of a major stakeholder, sir, within that collective, which is Te Runanga o Ngaitahu. So what the committee did, sir, was that they really looked at this, particularly the second part that I want to talk about, and that, sir, is the recognition of Mana Whenua. And that was strengthened, sir, through the select committee process. That's right. So I think the important part of this is that Te Rito o Waitangi has actually been sort of very, very much in motion all the way through, and particularly that is why the decision, sir, that we came to was that it had already been included in what we're actually, how we're implementing this legislation. So that's the first part of it. The other part is that how well we all worked as a committee, and particularly using that word kotahitaka again, collective, working together, and sir, this is really the hallmark of this legislation, the Greater Christchurch Regeneration Bill. Kia ora.